Why, hello everyone. I hope you're having a good day. So I wanted to play this clip of Jeffrey saying something, and I heard this shit. Like, this is like 6 month old video. I need to stop this shit. But in the meantime, here while I'm wrapping up my thoughts and getting stuff out, let me check this one out here. Let's check.
Jeffree Star talks about how the Illuminati is real. Clearly, if somebody knows, it's going to be somebody like him who has actually been in the inner circle of those different places.
The Illuminati real?
Yes.
Are there any other secret societies other than Illuminati that maybe don't get as much press?
Yeah, but they're evil and I don't.
Okay, so Illuminati is not evil. They don't do.
Wow. Okay, so because I have a lot of cults up my butt, and some of them could be nicer than others, and whatnot. And I've actually been treated fairly nicely, but also it hasn't been always nice. And I understand my community in Denver here protects me greatly, and I do appreciate that. And I can misjudge and think that everyone, everything is evil and whatnot. So she's like, because I had some rejection, and I'm never going to join a cult. It's never going to happen. Maybe I fuck one of your cult member females, like around my age, please and thank you. To those. I mean, if you're talking about breeding, then you better be talking about purchasing these services from me for millions of dollars. All right. Because they're like, we have a bunch of fucking 18 to 20-year-olds, Chris, that, okay, whatever. I just, I was roofie possessed as a child to make love not work. So I pissed a lot of fucking people off. Because I would always do or say something, or both, to make it not work. Even the infamous freeze when I was around a really great love of mine, and it happened. They brought a look-alike a couple years ago. She was very lovely, looking, and she probably was a lovely person as well. But I don't know what's up with some shadowy figures, kind of stunning me. It seemed, and moving around that day. Probably was that bullshit that I have been dealing with since I was a child. And it's created a lot of cascading effects where people just like blame me, or they psychological warfare, and it's like, maybe he's gay, and da 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 da. And it was like, no, I was like roofie possessed when I was like 5, 6 years, maybe 7 years old. And the one thing I remember from it was this witch chanting that I wouldn't make love work. I always thought it was a dream until my 40s, where I'm starting to learn all this stuff. So I've created a lot of damage, as they would say. But again, like, my fault, not my fault. When I'm roofie possessed to make that stuff not work, and then I get blamed for it, like, am I really to blame? And that's one thing why people bring bad karma down on them when they do, like, horribly bad things to me. I am not what other people have done to me. They try to, like, Jeffrey Dahmer me and shit and a whole bunch of other stuff, and I turned out great. And being self-aware, that I'm an MK Ultra Project Monarch is just even more helpful. Because I do believe in the core values of, my mission. I was trying to shoot for presidents and everything, but I don't want to be a deep state bitch, right? And I didn't know that at the time. And that there's these secret hidden requirements where you have to, like, eat or fuck children to be in the club, a certain club. Like, I'm part of a club, but, like, and I'm cut from the same cloth, but I'm not exactly like that. Like, that shit gets way too dark and way too evil for me. Much darker than some college chick wanting to breed with Mercury and have a child of God. All right, and I think they have gotten a child out of me, but, like, I was highly possessed at the time, so it was never a child of God. It was a child of possession, which actually, given the nature of all this stuff, might have been what they were looking for. So anyway, it happens, I guess, especially when you get, distorted and twisted so early on. but I made it through all these fires and everything, and things have been at a standstill for a while because I feel, I needed to reach that level of like forgiving others and everything, which only something recently achieved. And just so and then putting that glass of water down, like I said in that other video, being able to set that glass of water down, and just like, yeah, okay, people are going to be doing, like, people like Rufy rape me with their children, and probably the same group, if not other tricked groups, are going to continue to do weird things around me from time to time, with their children, and I feel it's 100% fair and appropriate for me to mention that stuff, just so, other people are self-aware, because there's no like way in stopping a lot of things. So the best protection you could do is be self-aware, so it doesn't happen to you. And I come to that conclusion in that like near 4 hour long fucking video that I recently made. And I'm like, yeah, just let families be families, and that would be more protection for the good side, because they seem to really pervert and twist and distort these systems that are totally used for the child sex trafficking. And I'm like, oh, and just let families be families, okay, and yeah, that's going to create a lot of awkward situations, but I think it's the solution with the most amount of good and the fewest amount of problems in that regard, right? And that's what you're hoping for. I think, I'm not into this endless war thing. I find many of the trans females attractive. I may in fact suck a trans female penis, like Megan Fox's. I would totally suck her penis. Well, maybe, it depends. But it's and there's some of the weird demonic stuff isn't all bad. I especially am on board with the pranks and the pranksters and the people that just kind of like make scary roller coasters and other scary attractions where there isn't really any evil behind it, except like looshing you a bit, in a creative way that isn't so destructive, and I could appreciate these things here and there on either side. I think the good side is really fooled a lot. They are they're getting tricked into supplying and funding the genocide of Jesus's people, what you know as Jesus's people, the Palestinians. Like what the fuck, what's going on here? So yeah, you could be very foolish, and then you could cry about, oh my God, in Stephen King's the kids had sex with themselves, and they were all like of the same age and everything, but they had sex with themselves, and they're like experiencing life for themselves in this really fucked up situation that many of the adults don't believe them anyway, and they had sex with themselves. Oh my God. Really? Really? I mean, don't be such a pussy. All right, the babies do not come from storks. All right, they come from vaginas and uteruses after the penis fucking enters the vagina and ejaculates. Usually, I mean, I guess there is that in vitro fertilization and other weird methods, and they're growing babies, and they've probably been growing them way longer than you fucking realize. But the old school natural method is penis in the vagina. And maybe you shouldn't be such a pussy about that. And we need to deal with the fact, there's going to be people that are always going to be like, oh my God, the children had sex with the children. It's like, that sounds like the best fucking outcome to me. Hello, what? Man, so... Anyway, and I'm not like, people, done fucked up things to me. I do get to talk about it at times. I've already brought it up to a few people at the pantry that I've gone to, but I notice it there. I do appreciate the little children, is a little much and everything. So then I'm like, oh, well, that 15, 16-year-old that was wearing the see-through skirt, that was much nicer than the fucking, other child that they put around me the other day. And that's fine. These things happen. I could see them and not let them get to me now, because like I know what I am. They put me in so many situations, fucked up situations. And it's kind of like cops that just They want to get that guy selling drugs because he sells marijuana and he's bad for your community and blah blah blah. You know, and yeah, and they're probably getting drugs from the fucking government, some arm of the government, unofficially the CIA or some shit, and it's like, and it's just one stupid show. It's just a stupid show and so fake. But anyway, what was I talking about? Shit, hang on a second. Well, anyway, I gave myself a few seconds here, and anyway, I'm just, I'm going to be a little more forgiving, of others and myself too, I mean, to put me in that situation where I was even chasing someone away a couple years ago that seemed really nice. I wonder if they were the same person. They could have been wearing a makeup mole, even, and just a fake name, right? But I do see lookalikes. They have sent this one my way. It's like the universe or Matrix or whatever, fucking, like stalking me for life and everything. And they always send me someone that looks like her, but of like different ages and shit. The second trap house that I was in, there was this 17-year-old that looked like her, and it would get me to not look twice. It would get me to look like 3 times, like, wow, you look just like her, like shit, and I didn't know anything was going on at the time. Right now, going over to this business at Abba Eye Care. She, used to work at a sunglass place in the mall, I guess. So I could see there was this chick there that looked like her. The one a couple years ago looked like her. A couple, 2 young looking ones at the park looked like her. Yeah, they keep sending one. That is a nice one. I do like the orange peel model right there. That is a very fascinating, lovely creature, especially when they're like a Whitney Webb, and they could just like. They could be that awesome second brain that I need to kind of complete me, right? And I could complete them in some way. I hope, and yeah. So anyway, yeah, it's been very weird and shocking, yeah, the betrayal and whatnot. I guess that's a hard one, and I don't know everything, right? So. It could have gone this way or it could have gone that way, and it's like, I like to think it was a bit nicer than it could have been. And yeah, so, and I know not everyone was like actively involved in it, but like, they're sending me lovely women over the years, and then I can't ever make it work, and then it gets the group upset at me. Right, so then they start putting penises in front of my face because I can't make it work with women for such a long time. But the core of the issue always was this very strong magic that was against me. And I guess some people might say that I did remember it because it was a dream that I like forgot about, for a while. I like literally forgot about it for decades until I was like, oh yeah, I remember that. Oh shit, that wasn't a dream. Oh, why? I always got headaches at their house. I always got headaches, and I never told my parents, or rarely would I tell my parents, if ever, that I got a headache at their house. So yeah. I want to try to make it work now. I think, the whole possession bullshit is over. So we will see. And I will try not to let people who look like people from my past, because they send me like a Hispanic version of my uncle. They send me a black version of my racist grandfather. It is strange, and I should not let that stuff weird me, out. They even got me, on that chick that looked like my first girlfriend, Hikmate, a lovely Muslim chick. And I feel kind of bad because I didn't know I was getting stalked by the cult, and I got her involved in all this cult shit because I pestered her into dating me because I was like, you got to be persistent, and then the cult was working in the background and everything, and shit. I didn't realize I put all that on her and her family. And I do apologize. She was very lovely. I hope she's doing well. I would like to make some extra abundance here so I could send some to her and some people from my past, whether they deserve it or not. Whether other people think they deserve it or not. I think they're all kind of deserving, and I still want to have my make. I want to make homesteads, and I can't make a bunch without making one. So start off with one, and then go from there. But I don't want to be a deep state bitch. I am still fine with a leader of America, but no deep state bitch. This like I want to crawl up the space aliens' ass that have been secretly crawling up all your asses. Could I do that, please and thank you? So yeah, I wanna this none of this really disqualifies me, even though I know they have their bots, they have their NPC trained people, they have a lot of things. It's like, look, I just think it's better protection for you and your family that you have the freedom to run your family how you see fit, and anything you don't deem see fit, could and maybe should be seen as a crime, on your family. So yeah, and that pretty much solves like 90%, give or take, a few percentage points of your problems. And that's just that, and it makes everyone uncomfortable because we can't fully stop it. And it's like, I know, right? You can't fully stop it. Right. Right. So maybe if you're just, a bit more honest and a bit more freedom, yeah, like they could fucking shoot down those fucking airplanes that are gassing, doing the chemtrail stuff, in like Yemen, in Iran, other parts, of the world that aren't the empire, right? But within the empire, you're like, yeah, we got all these freedoms. That's why we can't do anything about them poisoning us like rats. What's happening to Rome, because like it looks like a lot of the cover-ups indicate that Rome was once America, and look at all the Roman style buildings, right? And they're doing it again. They're doing these repeats again. They're poisoning the population again. They're looting the treasuries again. It's amazing. But I don't think the rerun is going to go exactly as planned. So yeah, and yeah. Anyway, I'm not what happened to me. I'm kind of over all that shit. I get to talk about it though. I don't want to talk about it forever. It's an interesting puzzle piece that does make a lot of sense, and it fits right in with all the other stuff that's been getting disclosed. The possession one is bigger though. Like, I mean, that was more destructive than other people doing a bunch of inappropriate things in front of me when I'm not really being inappropriate like that around them. You got me to act, a bit stupid, I guess, because again, part of the, yeah, I'll meet like an awesome ass woman and start acting like stupid, like, like the idiot mode got turned on in my brain, and that could be other outside entity forces, and there's people that understand this stuff and are forgiving of me, and I do appreciate that. So yeah, thank you. Sorry I couldn't make it work with that lovely lady. I was still kind of possessed and shit, and it took some time to break through. Right, right. Only most of my life as it is right now. Maybe I make it to my 80s and I could say, oh, it was only about half my life. Anyway, so I'm going to get the fuck going. You guys have a lovely fucking day. I want to talk about that stuff. It is, I guess, a touchy subject, not to do any puns either. But yeah, I think the best solution is just that, and sorry people roofie possessed me and try recruiting me in that way, and it's like I can't even. I already have a hard enough time with your college girls, like being too young and immature, right? And there's a lot of things that like look good. There's a lot of women my age that look good, but I'm like, wait a second, that looks like a succubus demon that going to fucking like suck my energy if I have sex with that one. Like I need to watch out for that one. She's too pretty. Like it's like making food that's too good. It's like I always shoot for 4 out of 5 stars, like taste wise with my meals and everything, because I don't want it too fucking good. As if it's too fucking good, then you're eating too much of it. And and yeah, I've been warned by some. You got to watch out for the really pretty ones, and it's like, right? And it's not like these past loves of mine weren't pretty. They were just like, yeah, there's like, I love my wife and I think she's pretty and everything. And oh my God, there's that model or something, like, and you could find both of them pretty at the same time, right? It's like, wow, I like that one and I like that one. So yeah, there's just like, that one, looks, like she's gonna fuck with me. Like I've been fucked with the demons enough, and working on less louche. Me not operating on rage is another thing that they tried encouraging me for. They're like, you must be really angry. It's like, man, I've been operating on rage my whole fucking life. Like, I need to, make these changes and shifts. So yeah. And anyway, thank you for the helpers that have been helpful throughout the community. And even though I may or may not be disappointing to them, I do appreciate your continued support and help. Thank you. And I need to say that more also because I'm tired of making these videos where I kind of like complain about stuff. I do appreciate the many helpers and the many people who poke and jab me to try to get me to do something. And I do appreciate that. I need to be poked at times and kicked in the butt. Just like that one Tanya chick from Neo. She like, she was a butt kicker in chief. She was lovely too, but I had a really hard time with women, didn't I? Because I had this roofie possession thing. Not only that, but some of the teal hair fucking bitches, or females, depending on which. But they would lure me in. Like they have some sort of magic ability to like attract me. It is the strangest fucking shit. It is the strangest fucking psychic shit. Some of the strangest fucking psychic shit. Anyway, and they would like lure me in, and then I would have a hard time asking for their number or something. Then they'd have like their boyfriend call me or answer their phone or something. Yeah, and it would always be something like that. And it's like. And they've been doing that for a while. That's part of the psychological warfare. So I think it's the same shitty evil group that would roofie possess me as a child that would also like lure me in. And is that the Jesuits? Is that the Jesuits? Is that's the little Jesuit doing right there? And Misty could very well be one of them, a Jesuit, right? And that's why it's best that Misty and I don't hang out again. So I get that. I still feel right about returning her back to her, and I still trust myself enough to make boundaries. I don't know, like do the Jesuits do like actual any good? So it's a little hard, all these labels and everything, and it's like I don't even the Satanists I like the ones that don't sacrifice children and or eat them or humans in general. Those would be the ones I like. They like to do their little demonic sexual shenanigans and mild like Lushine and everything. I could totally get that. There's plenty of stories that Mr. Ballin has spoken about on the YouTubes. Where there's campers in the woods and there's this being or beings circling them and everything, but they live through it. And that was a Lucian experience, and instead of the more serial killer one where they like tear open the fucking thing and like kill them and whatnot, which does happen. Humans get hunted. Humans get hunted by other things that aren't human. And that's another thing you guys need to realize, too. And it's not to be afraid of the world and everything, and it's not to go storming up into other places like an army, but it's just nice to be self-aware of these things. When they say stick on the path, you better stick very close to that path. I think they give some leeway, like 50 or 100 yards from the main trail, or maybe even larger numbers, right? But there's people that fuck around and then they find out. And I can't, maybe there is a Dracula. Maybe he is at that castle. And there's some kid that went up in there, and it was like one of the few foolish ones of us that would go do that and check things out. And then he got eaten and sucked on it. It's like, look, this is my place. All right. The government ain't going to sell it to anyone, even though it's listed for like $1 or something, or some bullshit, right? It's like, and I can't hate on that either. It's like, well, you did kind of go into, what we would know as Dracula's fucking home, and then you didn't return. And then the authorities were like, well, it just like went missing, I guess. Even though they're probably well aware, some of them, that yes, this is Dracula's place and don't go fuck with it. But, if you're going to go fuck with it, definitely small numbers, so you could use it to feed and everything. It's like, I need to catch one of you every now and then, and it's like, well, I guess, I right? So I don't want to hate on everyone, because I get a little, I get encouraged to do that, and I'm like, no, I don't want to hate on everyone. I think many of the Christians get so easily misled, and it gets annoying. It's like, dude, you're just like funding and supplying Jesus fucking, people's genocide, and you think you're a good Christian? Like what? Have you guys looked at yourselves instead of being brainwashed by all the demons that clearly have taken over Turning Points USA at this point? They're totally just flipping the message, just 180. What Charlie Kirk used to stand for and everything. That's amazing. And it's right in front of your faces. Don't be so fooled by it. But some people are getting fooled by it because, the power of suggestion is a powerful thing. That's why they have their influencers around to go influence. And then, they're doing this shit in the schools and everything. So, that's how the demons kind of operate. They're like, someone should go get Trump, and that's how they found someone to fucking, they found that guy that shot at Trump, but they messed with his sights the night before, and it made for a perfect fucking show, right? So, anyway, yeah, I want to make some homesteads, and see if this one community place that I go to could, help me in the right direction. Alright, peace the fuck out. Everyone have a good day. Bye-bye. By golly gee, I did forget the rest of this video, so let's just take a look.
Like blood, sacrifices.
See, the problem is when there's people in control of anything, they get greedy egos, so they ruin things and they make it evil.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, sorry. And I think that's a that's a fair point. Is people get a control of things, and then they get to out of control, being in control, which is a fair point. What else?
Care to elaborate?
No.
Okay. Fair enough. And is the Illuminati like celebrity based, or are there politicians also involved with that? It's just money based.
And then the celebrities are used as a vessel.
Okay. All right. How much money does someone have to make to be in?
Or what you're willing to do to not be broke anymore.
So what does that mean? Yeah. You speak in riddles. Like, you give me just enough where I'm like, I don't know.
You have to, so I don't get my plane or later,
It's your fear for your life when you're speaking right now.
I don't know, I mean, I tested the waters recently to see if anyone would come after me.
Then how'd you test the waters?
Just by saying a few things.
What'd you say?
I left LA and I broke ties with a lot of people and I stopped with
They were also in Illuminati.
stuff, yeah. So, I'm still here.
For now.
For now.
The mainstream.
So that was interesting. So yeah, I wanted to also add that, like, yeah, I made the comment about the teenager being better than the child when they're giving me an offer, but still wait till you're 18 or up and everything. I understand the breeding aspect of it too. My parents used to breed cats. All right, I get it. I understand. And I'm not going to let the weird consenting things. Even though it's most families seem to send me an age appropriate female, sometimes penis, but mostly vagina. Thank you. I do appreciate that, and I'm not. I've been carrying all these water glasses. Just more than one that I showed in another video of mine, and I'm just going to stop carrying the water glasses. And people do weird things around me. They have always done weird things around me. They'll probably continue to do weird things around me. And now I'm just more self-aware of it, is all. As I'm self-aware of it and I could explain it. And I'm like, yeah, people like Roofy rape me with their children. It's weird. And move on with my life. So yeah, those are one of the puzzle pieces for this mass disclosure. Is some families get their children to do weird sexual things to other people, even if they're adults. And yeah, and the possession, the hijacking thing, that's why I still want to, be a leader for America, but I don't want to be no deep state bitch. So I have, they're like, well, what life experience do you have that qualifies you? Well, I've lived a unique life, but also I've been through the hijacking, experience. And even when I am hijacked, my divine mission really isn't deterred. So there's that, which is a major thing because you guys deal with your leaders getting constantly hijacked, and that could involve possession, very likely. And yeah, so you want to look for the ones that could, that are able to resist and are immune to such manipulations, right? So yeah, I would think that that is a very major qualifier, something that you Americans need, and I'm on the regular person's side, so there's that too. All right, not that every rich person is an asshole either. I want to really narrow it down to as few motherfuckers as possible, if you don't mind. Just so I could, go about my day not hating on every fucking one from every fucking where, if you don't mind. Thank you. So yeah, I don't think, a lot of them are irredeemably bad. I think they do some weird shenanigans, kind of maybe dancing around the law, just illegal or things. It's like, yeah, I look at it like going 35 and a 30 mile an hour a lot, and it's like, yeah, but you're ignoring the people speeding going 100 miles an hour or more. I'm going to say those are a lower priority, the 35-mile-an-hour ones, than the 100-mile-an-hour more ones. And I just, properly distinguish between things and what's going on. I don't think the Illuminati is all bad. There's definitely podcasters I watch that give their secret symbolism and whatnot, and cool, and I appreciate it. It seems like a lot of people that are going to survive the reset, whether you're on a dark or light side, any sort of reset, some artificial reset or an actual reset by source, are going to be just the self-aware ones. And you can't beat yourself up that you can't save everyone. There's people eating lots of poisonous foods, and I try to tell them, but I can't beat myself up about it if they don't want to listen. And it's not that they're a bad person either; they're just highly misled, and I don't want to get dragged down, with them and everything. I appreciate everyone's help over the years, and continued help. And yeah, I'm going to start, living my life better instead of, always surviving. Um, and yeah, a lot of that has to deal with me not carrying the glasses of water all day, week, month, year long, or years. And what people did to me doesn't, define who I am, and these things are all true. And I can have my weird views where I'm like, yeah, I think it's just better to like let families be families because that offers more protection for the majority of you that are good, and they're still going to try to feed off of you, loose you, harvest you some way. So just, the only thing you can really do is just be self-aware. Even if you stop all the hiking encounters and everything, they're going to find a way to harvest, hunt some of you in some other ways. So, you know, um, so yeah, it's some really philosophical stuff because it's like, yeah, the way that you guys treat your livestock and animals. What if something a little more advanced than humans, came around and started fucking with humans in the same fashion or a similar fashion, right? Right. So, and then we could go back and look, maybe start treating our livestock better because the demons have really, this doesn't mean that you can make all the livestock cattle farms nice, but it is way darker than, you know, way beyond balance. Let's just say it's very imbalanced. So yeah, and I feel good about all this. I'm not trying to join them. I'm not trying to be improper. Sure, I understand the breeding thing. Please wait until you're 18. I appreciate the families that have sent me age appropriate females, and I'm sorry I couldn't make it work out with them. I really wanted, like, there was this hot ass one that, like, yeah, I know, the finest females ever. You know, Oh, sorry, my video cut out. I gotta sum this up. So yeah, there was this fine ass one wearing this green dress, that I, really wanted, but I was, demonically possessed at the time. I was being gang stalked hard at the time. People putting me in an irritating situation, and then I was just like rejecting everything. And I've been acting a lot like the dog, the rescue animal that like pisses itself every time it walks past a stranger. And I've been acting like that a whole lot, or barking a whole lot. And I'm going to knock it off and start enjoying things. And I'm not meant to stop everything, but I am here for a negotiation of sorts, so I will not downplay that. Um, but I need to start, doing stuff that I want to do. I want to make a homestead. I want to make homesteads, and I can't make homesteads without first making a homestead. So I got to start off with the one. Anyway, love you guys. Thanks for the ones that understand and still support me and whatnot. And I appreciate you. Sorry if I lost your support. I'm not trying to hate on you or anything like that. I just, I have a more matured worldview, I think, now than I did even a couple years ago. So, yeah, and I'm going to stop living on rage. Um, I'm going to start doing things differently. All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone, because yeah, doing things differently, that could be holding up some of the manifestations as well. So, I need to knock off some bad habits, and they may not be the masturbation sexual kind that people may think, but mainly the electronics. The electronics is a hard one to get away from, and I need to really do my best to get away from that. I need to find me a fine female, magical, divine, healed female vagina that is probably a bookworm that will get me, because other parts of people rub off on me, and I want that rubbed off on me, and to get unplugged from that, and she should be like, an empath into nature and all that stuff too, and that would be like perfect. And I have met perfect women like that, and I haven't been able to make it work. It's really fucked up. Some dark magic a long time ago could have such an effect on me. But being self-aware is a very powerful tool here. So thank you, everyone, for if you have helped or supported me or someone like me, I do appreciate it. Thank you. All right, have a good one, everyone. Bye.